Before we get started with this amazing review today, we're gonna do something new. Teespring has made it possible, apparently, for you to put t-shirt designs below the video. Typically, when I do t-shirts, I print a bunch of them and then I, just have them piled up at my house. But this Teespring thing has gotten my creative brain thinking. We could be a little more like, grow the revolution much faster. Something we're gonna try. Every time we have a video, look down below the video and you might see a special unique t-shirt down there. Maybe in the future, we'll start doing ones that are designed by you, the fans. Let's get to the review. That's what we're all here for. Well, here we are. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a long road to get here, a long and broken road, but God bless it, and I'm thrilled to be here. I'm talking, of course, about the latest Kendrick Brothers movie, which is finally here.
Resources.
Sure, I've done a trailer reaction, I've done an initial review, but nothing is as sweet, succulent, so tasty as the official Say Goodnight Kevin Movie Night review. Why? Honestly, I enjoy it because it takes up like 4 months of my life to put these things together, but also I get to take a deep dive and I end up seeing things in these movies that I just normally wouldn't see. It took me a while to get to this. I know the movie's been out for a while. They sneakily released the DVD in the middle of December. But you will not take me down that easy, Affirm Films, a Sony company, because finally, I have the time, I have the energy, I have access to the DVD, and now we can officially take a deep dive jump into the movie that I've been hoping to review for my whole life. Ladies and gentlemen, here we go. For those of you who don't know, this is the 6th movie by the Kendrick Brothers. I have reviewed every last one of their movies, except for those ones that they talk about that they made when they were kids. But their official feature films for families, I have reviewed. You can check out all the links to those in the description below.
Resources.
However, this movie is extra special. This is the first Kendrick Brothers movie that has come out that I get to review since I actually met the Kendrick Brothers a little over 2 years ago. Got to have an in-depth conversation about kind of their worldview. You can actually hear one of those in the podcast that I did, which is linked in the description.
Resources.
Enough shilling for myself. Let's talk about the movie. Full disclosure, Alex actually invited me to give my thoughts on an early version of the script for this movie. I know. I was super honored by this. I couldn't say no, obviously. Here, I have the opportunity to actually speak into and give my opinion about a movie before it gets made, whenever it could actually matter. Obviously, I will do that. I'm always willing to look at people's scripts for money. He also invited me to stop by the set on a media day that they had, and that was so very nice of them. It was pretty wild. I'm pretty sure that I'm one in a huge line of people that probably gave their thoughts and their opinions on the script for this movie. It's all part of a machine after all. However, I like to think maybe reaching out to somebody like me who clearly has a very different opinion on what makes a good movie represents maybe an open approach to this movie overall. Maybe that will result in a stronger story overall. But all of that begs the question, we're all wondering, was my amazing advice used? And if so, did it help make the greatest Kendrick Brothers movie of all time? There's only one way to find out, and that's to jump right into it. Grab your earbuds, that'll make sense later, and get ready for my movie night review of Overcomer. Ooh, you're an overcomer. The movie begins, strangely, exactly the same way that horrible CGI Arthur movie began back in 2006. Overcomer! Yet Arthur's window looks somehow more realistic. But through the window, it's not Arthur sleeping on top of his blankets. No, this is actually a basketball game. That's right, just in time for March Madness. It's basketball month, everybody. So you remember a few seconds ago when I said that I got to be on set? Well, this actually was the scene that they were shooting that day. And you know what? It was pretty cool the way they got this shot. For those of you who are interested, it was a drone, obviously. And as it comes in for a landing, the guy catches the drone and films the rest of this scene. It's pretty cool. Now, if you look closely, you'll see that a lot of the people in the stands here are actually members of Christian media and press and everything. I'm guessing they did this so they would write up a good review for the movie. Who am I kidding? They're all gonna write good reviews for this movie anyway. It was very family friendly. That's why I'm here, everybody. Probably why I won't get invited to many more media days. Okay, enough floundering. Let's get into the actual movie. This is Alex Kendrick. I mean Grant Taylor. John Harrison. He's the coach of this private high school basketball team. And this is the part where the game breaks down. It gets real intense. No one makes a sound. Everything feels like 8 Mile Man. Just at the last second, they lose. And everybody is real sad. But don't worry, everybody. I know you're worried about this team and how sad they are. Coach John reminds everybody that
next season, we take everything.
There's always next year.
Cut to the school. Later, there's big news on the TV.
Hey, John, Amy, you might want to come see this.
Oh no.
The town's oldest manufacturing plant is closing its doors.
The local factory is closing, which means that a lot of the students aren't going to be at the school anymore.
John, most of my players have parents that work at the plant.
They're being released into the market, where they'll hopefully soon be absorbed by stronger, growing industries and contribute to the economy in a more productive and necessary way. That's a good thing, if you ask me, economically, but not great for this local town. And especially not great for John's coaching career.
We've been told that local employees will have the option of transferring to another location.
What, so they're not even losing their jobs? So this isn't bad news at all. Look, as much as I love conveniently timed news reports, this is definitely one of the things I suggested taking out in my suggestions.
This ain't gonna be pretty.
In fact, I said take out all of this, like the entire beginning. Start the movie after the factory's already closed. Let us, as the audience, discover as we go. 5 months later, we find ourselves where the movie should have started. Here we're introduced to Hannah. She's the troubled youth that our main character John is going to have to reach out and help because she steals this dude's headphones, which means they have to reenact the opening scene from Last of the Mohicans. Fortunately, Hannah's an amazing runner, and these guys are total idiots.
Did you see her?
And also, she has asthma.
Bet she ran in those apartments.
Who was she? I don't know.
And if previous films are any indication, we'll probably never find out. Wow, good thing she's wearing that camo. Well, after all that excitement, it's time to head home with Hannah, where she's approached by her perpetually angry grandma.
Where have you been?
That's when we find out headphones aren't the only thing she stole.
Where'd this come from? I found it in your jean pocket.
I found it.
In my jean pocket.
I already bought you one of these.
Why is she stealing things? We don't know. I guess because it's necessary for the plot, even if it feels a little out of character.
Brookshire's giving you a chance. You're not gonna get thrown out of there, too. Your food is on the stove. I'll be back at 10.
Ooh, I bet that food on the stove is really gonna come back into play.
Yes, Grandma.
And I know what you're wondering, but what's John up to? Well, he and his family are having a nice steaming bowl of exposition around the dinner table.
Did you hear Coach Wright is moving to Fairview?
Well, he went from 32 players to 13, so I think you saw the writing on the wall.
Do you know how many students we'll have?
I think about 240. We had 550 last year.
So much exposition. And look, the son works at Chekhov's escape room.
We had 2 groups come in, but neither escaped.
Escape rooms? I've heard of those.
Hey, Will, did you wash your hands?
Yes, Mom.
Don't want to spread coronavirus.
Hey, wash your hands before you sit down.
Coronavirus.
We're in good shape. We still got your brother, Ty, and the twins, so I think we'll be fine, as long as no one else leaves.
Gary is leaving.
Wonk, wonk, wonk. Wow. Hilarious. Well, with decreased faculty and decreased students, that means unforeseen changes to the sports program.
At this point, I don't think I could save football, but I do think I have a solution for cross country.
Who? No.
When I saw this movie at the premiere, people were cracking up at this type of stuff. So apparently it does work for the fans of these movies. What can I say?
You are my best option.
That's when War Room Lady uses his coaching skills against him.
I have heard you give some very inspirational speeches to your players. That is exactly what I need from our staff right now.
And sigh. Now it's time for the big day. Cross-country tryouts.
Hey, guys.
Another suggestion that I gave in the script was that these kids should be watching a Say Goodnight Kevin video here. That would have made the movie a million times better. I'm just saying. Turns out these kids weren't even there for tryouts.
None of you are here to try out?
There's only one person who's there. Who is it?
Hannah Scott.
And as if things couldn't get any worse for John already in this movie. No!
It's for my asthma.
Oh.
You have asthma.
Yes, sir.
So disrespectful. I don't know how John's ever gonna reach this kid.
How do I reach these kids?
Well, I initially had my qualms about the believability and the responsibleness to say, hey, if you have asthma, you better still run for Jesus. All of those worries are set to rest in this next scene in the middle of this courtyard for some reason.
Her grandmother already gave me a doctor's note. She ran at Franklin last year. She just has to keep her inhaler with her.
But why have a season with one runner?
Because one runner matters.
Hashtag all runners matter. No.
John, you are a good coach and you're a good teacher.
Yes, so the movie has told us. If this school is so low on funds and it's losing students, why are they putting one of their full-time staff members spending most of his time coaching this girl who we find out later isn't even paying to go to the school? This is just bad management, I think. Hold. And sigh. Nice. Now it's time for another bad thing to happen. This is kind of the Kendrick Brothers format. Conflict is just a series of bad things happening to a dad. It turns out the twins are moving to Sharpsville.
What's happening to my team? This is supposed to be our year.
It's not their year. And sigh. All right, enough of that. Let's check in on Hannah.
Okay, Hannah.
At her first cross-country practice. Is that what it's called? Practice? Meet? Is it meet?
Hannah, I bet you can run this in 24 minutes.
24? I can do it in 24.
And this scene is hilarious, boy. He can't run it in 24.
Don't die.
He can barely even run in under a half hour.
Didn't we break 30?
I'm just impressed that you finished.
Go away.
The problem with this sport is that there's no ball.
Well, I think this sport's about endurance, sweetie.
Hey, kind of like watching this movie.
Hey, Hannah, do you have a ride home? We'd love to meet your parents.
My parents have passed. Thanks anyway.
Hey, didn't I take my watch off out here? Or did I leave it at home?
Oh no, she stole his watch. This girl is a menace. What a troubled teen.
I've got to use tough love to help this Latin American teenager believe in himself.
She did better than I expected.
Yeah.
Did you know her parents passed away?
Did you know her parents passed away? There are so many lines in here that I don't understand why they're there. Maybe I'm getting too deep into the weeds. I'm being nitpicky. Since I think the movie overall has structural frustrations. Like, look at this pointless scene.
You know, John, I don't understand. I don't understand why he won't run.
It's trying to answer a question that maybe somebody in the audience might ask. Hey, how come the son who's an athlete isn't running? I don't think that would have even crossed my mind, cross-country'd my mind, if she hadn't brought it up in the first place.
If you'll run with me to train, I'll do it.
He's not running.
I'll give him the benefit of the doubt that the reason they kept this conversation in is because it's the only place where they included the famous Comey bombs, bringing the whole cinematic universe together.
You know what? I'm gonna go talk to him.
Oh, no. You know what? We just need to give him space, and love him.
Yeah, the joke's not funny anymore. Let's not, can we stop dragging it out? No? Very well.
And we don't have to bring it up anymore.
All right, when they finally finish dragging out that joke, it's time for a contrived moment where John Harris meets his magical black mentor archetype. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, oops.
Who's there? I'm just here visiting a few people with my pastor.
His name is Thomas. Despite the dialogue's attempt to make him the preachiest character in the movie, Thomas is my favorite character.
So tell me about yourself, John.
So I'm the basketball coach at Brookshire Christian.
You don't sound too sure.
There's a lot of things I'm not too sure about right now. I've been assigned the cross-country program.
So you might say this is coincidental, or you might say it's providential. Either way, he turns out to be a cross-country runner.
Cross-country? That was my sport.
Aww, how serendipitous. John sees and seizes the opportunity to get some friendly advice.
I might need some advice, because I don't really know what I'm doing.
Friendly, black, optimistic advice.
Not only about life, but about coaching a sport that he has no clue about. Apparently, his employer is just the worst at running a school.
It's good to meet you, Thomas. I'll be praying for you.
I'll take it.
All right, let's cut from John to a scene with, let's see, John. That sounds like a good plan. This is where we meet our gay drama teacher, who comes up to John and is like, I need you to help me in my drama class.
So I got history papers to grade.
Yeah. History's already happened.
That's a funny line.
History has already happened.
Not funny enough to say twice, but funny. The drama teacher runs his class like an American Idol style competition.
Oh, sing, oh heart of great desire.
I must say that while there's a lot of pointless scenes in this, they do seem to be more like setups for jokes. It doesn't really come into play. Yeah, I don't know why they do this.
No, we don't like it, Wesley.
Well, I hope that broke the tension enough for you, because now it is time for more bad news bears. Another one of John's basketball players is moving out of town.
Just wanted to come tell you that we decided to move out of Cornerstone.
And I know what you might be thinking. Hey, I thought the basketball team was already canceled. Well, I guess not.
Look, you're an excellent coach.
Look, if we hadn't been beat over the head that the basketball team was over, this scene would make sense. I just thought it already happened. So now, it's like, wow, I'm sad about a thing that I'd already kind of come to terms with. And the bad news starts to compile.
10% pay cut.
Anywhere I've ever worked, they don't do that. Because of the hit to productivity, there's diminishing returns on lowering people's salary. They'd rather just lay people off. I know it seems silly, but that's how corporations work, and that's why we need Bernie Sanders. Well, John's wife, she's had enough. He needs to check his tood.
Can this wait, or do you still need more time to pout?
Excuse me?
Okay, John.
Whoa, John, calm down, bro. She dares to try to summarize the movie to the writer of the script.
You're a basketball coach without a team, and now you have to coach cross country.
And he's not having any of it.
Oh, is it that simple? You forgot the 10% pay cut, no scholarship option for our son, no possibility of winning with one runner with asthma.
Plus the Comey bombs and the hilarious drama class scene. So many cool things happening in my movie.
Are you trying to help me? 'Cause you're not.
Hey, maybe you could be a little grateful that you happen to have a job where you get to be paid to do next to nothing? So after being berated like that by John, the wife goes inside, she cries, her little son sees her crying. Oh, it's heart-wrenching, it's sad.
Are you okay?
All right, well, she comes back outside to the same scene where they're talking to each other. Why? Why go inside and then come back out? Anyway, they have this conversation. It's awkward and weird because she does this. Here she apologizes for making him yell at her.
I have this problem that pops up sometimes. I want to try and help, and it's not always easy to know how, because he gets really angry with me.
The biggest problem with this scene isn't necessarily how awkward and uncomfortable it is. It's not good advice if you have a bad guy, like an abusive husband. You know what I mean? Like, he gets angry sometimes, but I know that he loves me. Just saying. To make it even more weird, we have the boys inside like this.
Hey, come here.
Yeah, look at him. Look at mom and dad. Yeah. Meanwhile, oh right, remember? Hannah? Forgot about her. Oh good, the principal's sitting down to talk to her. Maybe we'll get to know her a little better as a character.
I hear you're running in your first cross-country race tomorrow. Are you excited?
A little.
Girl, that makes me admire you even more. Do you enjoy running?
Can you give us any reason to care about you as a character?
It's really the only thing I'm good at.
Cool, thanks. All right, it's time for her first race. Meet? Is it meet? That's when we finally get what we've all been waiting for, a montage with a contemporary Christian song. Finally, I can fast forward to the next part of the movie. Looks like they had a lot of fun riding their go-kart around with a Steadicam. So, cool. All right, let's get back to Coach John with his mentor, Thomas.
It's the maybe, maybe not basketball coach.
You got time for a visit?
Let me check my calendar.
And you know what time it is. It's guilt trip time.
If I asked you who you are,
What's the first thing that comes to mind?
I'm a basketball coach.
We take that away. Who are you?
Well, I'm a husband. I'm a father.
I don't want you to tell us what you do. I want you to tell us who you are.
Oh, all right.
I'm a Christian.
Interesting. How so far down your list? Last time you were here, you said you'd pray for me. Did you?
No.
For someone who knows the Lord. You're acting like somebody who doesn't.
Is he, though? The CDC has made it perfectly clear that you shouldn't be touching your face like that. And John, he really feels this moment, as made clear by the fact that he sits in his truck really feeling it. All right, well, enough of that scene with John. Let's cut to a scene with John. And here, he really connects with his son, who is actually played by Alex's real-life son. He does great. He's got chops. He's been talking about how he feels like cross-country, it's just not a real sport, so he's been coming up with these different ideas on how to make the sport better.
Imagine, every runner is dribbling a ball, and before they cross the finish line, they have to dunk it on an 8-foot goal, unless they get tackled.
What if I tackle them under the goal and double dunk on them?
It's cute. It's fun. Then we cut back to Thomas again, where John has just finished telling Thomas the scene that we had cut to.
He calls it tackle ball extreme.
Then Thomas says, well, sometimes they change the rules.
They do change the rules from time to time.
Then John says, yeah, they're talking about changing this one rule, and I think it's silly.
Trying to get earbuds allowed for runners right now.
Remember that part, because, it will come back. There's some great payoff for that. But for now, it's time to learn the deep, dark secret of Thomas's past.
When I was
a young warthog,
and it turned into drugs and women.
And Gene Roddenberry.
But it all caught up to me, and...
Are you guys ready? Are you guys ready? We get the biggest reveal of the entire movie.
You said you grew up here.
I don't think you're ready.
I left Franklin 15 years ago.
You may have already guessed this, and then you may have hidden it away. I thought a thing, and then I decided not to think that thing because I knew that was internalized racism.
I had a child with my girlfriend.
Wait.
Then we got hooked on meth.
Wait.
I left the child with a grandmother.
Wait.
Is it a boy or a girl?
Wait.
Little girl.
Wait.
One on balance.
Wait. Hold on just 1 second. I think I'm figuring something out here. Well, don't tell me, I'll get it. That's right. Thomas is actually Hannah's dad.
No. It's not true. That's impossible. No!
I'm trying to think of another movie that has this many coincidences. I think that that's the issue, is there's just maybe one or two too many.
She said that her father passed away.
He's a ghost? It's Ghost Dad. No. You know what? Let's look past it. Maybe it's just this. Look at God's amazing providence. Look at him work in this fictional story. That's amazing. Let's turn our brain off and let's cut to a running montage. So now our main characters are faced with a choice that only a man who struggles with finding his identity in coaching can face, you know?
You knew Hannah's mother?
We were friends. When this charming older guy came around, we warned her to be careful. The next thing we knew, she was pregnant. Then after she gave birth, she became an addict. I went to go see Barbara, but I just saw bitterness.
Well, thank you, lady from War Room, for giving us that tremendous information dump.
It makes sense that she wouldn't want anything to do with him.
Well, I'd say that your assessment is correct.
You passed the test. Also, we learn about this.
We wondered how Hannah was able to come here. You're paying for it.
Whoa. That's when John is faced with the ultimate conundrum.
If he and Hannah were to meet, it needs to happen sooner rather than later.
Barbara may not be telling Hannah the truth, but she still is her guardian.
If it was you, would you want to meet your dad?
What would you do? What's funny about this to me is that I think that that's a genuine question. Putting your characters into a morally gray situation, a conundrum, if you will, is something that I think is needed in Christian movies. It's good. Let the audience think for a bit. So it annoys me a little bit that in this movie, they don't really give the audience time to wrestle with it, especially since I personally don't agree with kind of the way the movie is pushing me to think. Well, they decide to at least go tell Thomas the truth about his daughter.
You know that I have one runner that I'm coaching.
Wait.
That runner is 15 years old.
Wait.
She lives with her grandmother.
Wait.
She was born on Valentine's Day.
Wait.
Her name is Hannah Scott.
Your runner is my daughter?
That's impossible!
We wondered if you would want to meet.
Meet? So at first he reacts the way you would expect somebody who has a really bad past, the type of person we've been told he is, would react.
What daughter would want a dad like me? She'd be disappointed.
But then again, the movie doesn't give us any time to ponder that. So then he just kind of immediately agrees to it.
She's willing to meet. Would you want to?
Yes.
This should be the tension in the last act. Will Thomas agree to be the father that he never was during the little bit of time he has left on this earth? Unfortunately, well, that's, if you could believe it, not where the movie goes. It's time to run the race. No, different movie. No. Is it though? Is it though? We could skip over this, blah blah blah. She finishes the race. Good.
Thought I at least made top 10.
They decide that they're gonna go behind the grandma's back. Again, they kind of just do these things assuming that everyone is a good person. Teachers shouldn't be going behind the legal guardian's back, right? They don't know her, they haven't raised her.
Ethan said he'd pick up Will, so we've got time.
Oh good, I was wondering who was picking up Will. But before telling her about her dad, John decides to play that who are you game with her.
Who is Hannah Scott?
I don't know.
Another underdeveloped character in a Christian movie?
Strictly here as a tool for a conversion scene?
Well, they tell her about her dad.
Hannah went to the hospital recently, met a man there.
Wait.
He used to be a runner years ago.
Wait.
He had a daughter.
Wait.
Baby girl.
Wait.
Left her with a relative.
Wait.
15 years ago.
Wait.
His name is Thomas Hill.
Wait.
What?
No, it's... Wait.
I don't want to go around your grandmother.
But I'm going to. Wait.
My father's alive.
That's impossible!
Her dad's not dead, he's surely alive. So they decide that they're gonna go visit Thomas. But while there, Hannah realizes that her father is more machine than man now.
What?
I need to get his vitals if I could, please.
Really, lady? You need to get his vitals now? Is it that vital?
I need to leave.
That was you, right?
I need some time to think.
Please tell me we did the right thing.
But you didn't! You didn't do the right thing. You didn't do the right thing. As slow as this movie was before, now it's come to like a screeching halt. Ugh. I think it's because this is the second time we've had to sit here and wait for Hannah to build up the courage to go see her dad. We've already been through this, and now we're having to go through it again.
I want to go see him again.
Ugh. There's gotta be some way to combine these scenes. Here, Thomas tells all the reasons why he used to be bad, but now he's good. It's just a little hard to believe that this guy was such a bad person when in the movie, we've seen none of that. He's literally been perfection.
I'm sorry I wasn't there for you, but I pray one day that you will forgive me.
But Hannah doesn't have the power within her soul to forgive someone yet. Then we get the reason the movie is 2 hours long.
Hey, Hannah. I know you've had a lot to think about lately.
I mean, this is here's the gospel.
You've heard in Bible class how Jesus died on the cross.
Would you like to pray that prayer?
Is that something that you'd like to do?
Repeat after me.
Would it be okay if I led you through it?
And they pray the prayer and she leads her to salvation.
Lord Jesus.
Lord Jesus.
Which in real life, I don't have a problem with, but in a movie, it's a lot. In terms of narrative, this moment leaves nothing to the imagination.
In Jesus' name.
In Jesus' name.
Amen.
Amen.
Then she gives her homework.
I want you to do something for me, okay? There's a book of the...
Really should have been cut out of the movie, and that's not because I hate salvation scenes. It's too long.
I guess I have a lot of things to ponder.
When we saw the premiere, Steven was like, this is a great victory because this movie's gonna be seen all around the world. And this very clear, very long, very blatant salvation message is in it. But then we get a whole montage of her doing her Christian homework, reading the Bible and crossfades and her worshiping at this river. Then we go back to the drama class, and this is where, see, I said it was pointless before. It turns out it's so meaningful because of then we get to have this scene.
While we're alive? High five.
Hannah, you okay?
It's an inspirational scene where now Hannah wants to play the Who Am I game.
Who am I? I don't know.
Ask me who I am.
Who is Hannah Scott?
I am a child of God.
Just like the song in my montage said. Wow, what a payoff. Ugh. Of these 3 different scenes that basically kind of do the same thing, I appreciate this one the most. It kind of feels like, all right, there's this game that they've been playing, and Hannah's finally winning the Who Are You Really game. Vote for Pedro. Wow, 2 Napoleon Dynamite references.
What you said in there was amazing.
What you said in there, you know, the thing that I, Alex Kendrick, wrote? That was pretty amazing.
I want Amy to hear this. Can we go see her?
I feel like we haven't gotten enough montages to show how Hannah, the character that we've barely gotten to know, has finally become a Christian. Remember how she was stealing things and that showed us how she was such a terrible person? I bet you've forgotten, right? Well, in classic Flywheel fashion, her Christianity, of course, is lived out through her returning the things that she's stolen. Now we know for sure that she's truly changed. All right, then Hannah goes back to meet her dad, but he's gone. No!
He's just been moved to ICU.
Good. And she's back with her newfound powers to forgive.
If Jesus can forgive me for all the things I've done,
like murdering that dude last summer,
then I can forgive other people.
After visiting her dad, Hannah gets home to her evil grandmother.
Where have you been?
He scared me.
I wasn't feeling well, so I came home early.
Honestly, I am so sad by the way this scene was filmed. The music, the delivery, the lighting, it's like she's Darth Vader. But what she's actually saying isn't wrong.
You don't know him like I do. Having him in your life is pain.
Yeah, he caused her pain, but also, apparently he was a really bad person, so that's completely understandable, and she should be mad at these school teachers who went behind her back.
I have a right to bring action against the school and against you.
I'm not saying that the movie should take my side. I just think that they make this grandma, who is actually making fairly reasonable points, out to be the one with the problem, especially since it misses an opportunity to show us these 2 different perspectives, where we then get to think, oh man, that is a tough situation. Now we get 3 whole scenes of Diary of an Angry Black Woman. She yells at Hannah.
You should have told me instead of deceiving me.
And yells at the coach.
You had no right to interfere.
And then she goes and yells at Thomas.
You want to help Hannah? Leave her alone.
I honestly think this grandma's part, most of it could be completely cut out of the movie, in my opinion. They could have had Thomas saying all of these things because he thinks it's too late to be a good dad. And that way, what happens later in the movie actually would be more impactful. But that's just my opinion. Or we could just have them praying awkwardly on an ottoman.
Please forgive me if I've jumped ahead of you. Lord, we need you. We need wisdom.
And then all of these parts where the boys are just like, hey, come look at mom and dad. It's awkward.
Please, Lord, help me.
And then, who else? Who else can... Oh, finally, the grandmother. She's praying.
I'm not handling this very well.
You know how some people pray in tongues? Well, the grandma prays in exposition.
I'm working 2 jobs. I'm trying to do everything I can do on my own, and it's not working.
And she finally repents of her evil sin of being a good caretaker.
You gotta help me!
Now, all of that's out of the way. You know how we've been sitting here wondering, why don't these runners get to wear earbuds while they're running? Right? Finally, amazing, perfectly contrived payoff to that headphone conversation we had earlier.
Trying to get earbuds allowed for runners right now.
Any questions that you might have about this, like, well, wait, maybe that could be cheating, or maybe that... All of those questions get answered in this. Don't worry about that.
If a runner wears only one small earbud and the content is pre-recorded only, we will allow it.
Now, you might be saying to yourself, what's the point of all this? Why would you put this in a movie? Idiots. You fools. All of this is setting up for the most epic ending to this movie that you could possibly imagine. But if they're going to have that epic ending, they have to make sure they have this scene first that explains to all those people who might criticize the movie and say that this would never happen or this is contrived. Man, those critics, they ruin everything. And to this movie's credit, John also thinks that all of this is a dumb idea.
This is ridiculous.
But then he comes up with a genius loophole, a way to get around Hannah's grandma's lawsuit. And that just so happens to only be possible if they allow the earbuds.
I vote yes. Say yes.
He tells everybody, come on, vote for it, vote for it. He also gets the Russians to hack the ballots. That's a pretty relevant scene that they have in this movie. This all begs the question, what is this amazing, incredible, genius plan that John has? Well, let's find out in the dramatic climax of this movie.
I want you to put this earpiece on, okay?
What is this?
It turns out
Hannah,
John,
this is your dad.
Pre-recorded Thomas coaching Hannah through the whole track race.
Just stay with me.
I don't know. I just don't know anymore. Boy, I just hope she doesn't trip or anything, right? And the time he gets off, or she accidentally hits skip. Oh man, it went back to the beginning on accident.
Don't burn yourself out too early. Settle into an even pace.
Oh, I almost forgot. We finally get the conclusion of John's story.
Hey, John, are you not going with the other coaches to the midpoint?
I'm not coaching her today. She's got a better coach.
See? Because he was obsessed with coaching. And now he learned to let go and let Thomas. All right, you get the idea. We go through the entire race. I can't tell if this is clever or cheesy. The music is just so big, and there's this part right here.
Now, my daughter, it's time. Hannah, track her down.
Whoa, cool. Everybody's gonna hate me for thinking this is all funny. Okay. If I was 10 years old, I would have thought that was the coolest part in the whole movie. Like, whoa, whoa. All right, we get to the end of the race. Here's the girl in front.
There's Gina.
But where's Hannah?
Look, here he comes.
Is that?
That's Hannah.
Run! Run, Hannah!
Fight Hannah!
Trip her! Just as she's about to reach the finish line, she collapses and dies. Yeah, you know, turns out pushing a kid with asthma too hard, maybe that was a bad idea. No, she didn't die. She's okay. More than okay, in fact, because...
It turns out you were leaning forward an inch more than she was. Congratulations.
What?
You just won the state championship.
She won because of her asthma, because she was falling forward. Yeah! Wow, the mean girl and the rookie cop guy from Courageous are not happy about this one. Now, most movies would end the movie there, you know, at the hour and 45-minute mark. Not this movie. We get the grandma's redemption. We get Thomas's redemption. Don't sell it for crack or anything. We get a funeral.
Redemption.
Then we end with a fake-out voiceover. Woo!
At some point, you will ask yourself who you really are.
Where an older, wiser main character is teaching a younger group of kids. I feel like I saw that recently in a running movie, but who can remember these days? There's so many good ones. And we get one last drone shot of pre-tornado Nashville. If you look closely, you might even see me driving around doing Postmates. And now, we finally end the movie with our favorite song that was originally made famous during the abortion montage of Unplanned. And hey, look, buried deep in the special thank yous, that's me. Wow. Thank you. How many times do you get your name in a multi-million-dollar movie? Never, I think, for me. I don't think that's ever happened. So it truly is an honor. Nothing I said in this review is reflective of how I feel about the Kendrick Brothers. I think that they're great people. But what do I think of the movie, you might ask? Well, there's a lot of things about this movie that I could point out. I mean, obviously, I've pointed a lot of those things out throughout this review, and also in my initial review and in my trailer reaction. But there's one thing that I don't feel like I was able to talk about until I actually finished this review. So you guys know what happens in the movie and what I'm talking about. I think this movie has a lot of good ideas. Even the idea of exploring identity, I think that's a great topic, especially today, if that's done right. But when I look at the final product of this movie, a lot of those ideas don't seem to come through. From what I can gather, deep down in the heart of this movie is a movie about identity. We know that because they have that Lauren Daigle song, and how a lot of times your greatest strengths can be your greatest weaknesses if your identity is in the wrong thing. John's identity is supposed to be in his accomplishments. He's an amazing coach, and he's been rewarded over and over for his ability to know how to win. Thomas's identity is in his past failures. While he is a repentant Christian, he still has been a bad father, and he was doing drugs and stuff like that. Hannah, her identity is in where she came from. She didn't have parents, she didn't have a father, she didn't have a good home life. Thus, each of those arcs should be about them learning how those things can become their strengths when they don't allow them to define them. I think those are amazing topics to explore because they're very relatable. And in this movie, the elements are there. Unfortunately, what I just described, I don't think comes through very well in the movie. If that's the direction that they wanted to go, they didn't make the characters all that bad. And I don't mean like cartoon bad where they're like, I'm evil. Real world relatable people who we know need to change. Other than Hannah like stealing a thing, like they seem like great people. John doesn't seem like he's this hardcore coach. He's not Gene Hackman in Hoosiers or Denzel Washington in Remember the Titans. Basketball isn't his entire world. He's not a controlling person. He seems like a nice guy who happens to coach at the local private school. Hannah doesn't seem like this deeply troubled youth who's dealing with the ramifications of growing up without a parent. And Thomas, he doesn't seem like a man who's like living with the guilt of his past. I mean, what an opportunity to have a really complex character who is a Christian but still needs to learn you're not defined by your past. It's never too late to be a good father. If we did have those early character flaws, then that end race would have been super impactful. John learned that he needed to step back. Thomas learned that it's not too late and he wasn't unworthy to pour into his daughter's life. And Hannah learns she's just as worthy as anybody, no matter where she comes from. Then her winning would be the culmination of all of those character arcs finally reaching their climax in a believable and inspiring way. And unlike facing the Giants, her win would have not only felt inspiring, but completely necessary. Whew. Whew. Yes. Okay. You know, maybe reading that script in advance did affect me, but in a completely different way than I was expecting. I think many of us would have said like, wow, Kevin, since you were involved, are you going to be able to review this movie in an honest way, or are you just going to like praise it? Maybe it turns out I did the opposite. Do I need to say anything else? On a positive note, there we go. That's something else I could say. This is the best Kendrick Brothers movie, hands down. It's funnier, it looks better, it's more focused. They've come a long way. There is an understanding of character and motivation and story arc. With a few slight tweaks, this actually could kind of feel like kind of a spiritual sequel to Facing the Giants. In the end, it's very much a Kendrick Brothers movie. It's focused on message over story, and I think that often gets in the way of telling solid narrative, which unfortunately makes the message less impactful. I think people who like these movies, people in church, their hardcore audience, will like this movie. They'll find it funny and heartwarming and exciting and inspiring. But there's a lot of creative choices that really stand out to me. And maybe all of these things are things that will never change in Kendrick Brothers movies. Very well. Then I will always point them out and say, yeah, this is why the movie isn't very good, in my opinion. So there you have it. Thank you so much for watching this episode, guys. Whew. I'm done. I'm beat. I'm worn out. That's it for today from Say Goodnight Kevin, the accountability partner no one asked for. Good night. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Say Goodnight Kevin Movie Night Review. I had a big time. You know, if it wasn't for the people over at Patreon, then I wouldn't be able to do this show. Truly and honestly, if you like what we're doing here, if you like the revolution that we're starting, you can support the show by watching the show, or you can head over to Patreon or Subscribestar, and plus, I have something new that I'll be announcing very soon that I'm really excited about. My wife and I have been working really hard on it. It's going to be cool, and it'll be a new way that you'll be able to support the show. I'm not announcing it yet because it's not quite ready, but in the next week or so, you'll know. Some of the people who do pledge over at Patreon are Jacob and Emily Rugrock, Isa Kabir, the Voicey Here YouTube channel. Check out his channel. It's bigger than mine, and he supports the show, and I'm grateful for that. And Amanda Stewart. And so many other people. We have a lot of fun over there, and sometimes you get some cool
resources.
Thank you so much for watching today. I'll talk to you guys later. Good night.
I'm just impressed that you finished.